This hour with breaking news out of Castle Rock, where a restaurant caught fire last night for the second time this week. Thanks for joining us here at 9 o'clock. I'm Drew Carney. We did speak to the restaurant's owners earlier this morning. They say at this point they feel like they're being targeted. Shalima Maharaj is live in Castle Rock with the latest on this. Shalima?
Good morning, Drew. We're here at the back of the Hideaway Bar and Grill, and this is really where crews have been focusing the bulk of their efforts. You can really see the extent of the damage here. I'm going to step back so that 9 News photographer Alex Dickey can give you a closer look at what we're dealing with here in the light of day. Now, crews remain on scene. We have been speaking to the owners of the establishment, Bob and Becky Stroh. They are heartbroken by what has happened here. The second fire at their bar this week. The stunning new video obtained by 9 News shows some bright flames engulfing the building. The Strohs have owned the bar for the last 14 years, and they actually learned about the fire through a group chat. Once they saw what was going on, they got in their car, they drove out here. The Castle Rock fire chief says the second fire was not a rekindling of the first. This one started just before 4 a.m. and was contained shortly after 5. The Strohs say right now it is very much a wait-and-see situation, meaning there's not a whole lot they can do just yet.
It's just a shock. I can't believe 2 nights in a row this happened. It almost feels like we're being attacked. I know the fire department and the police department are doing their best to find out what is going on. It's under investigation, and I just want to hear what's going on with this and why it's happening to us.
Now, Bob and Becky tell me that the first fire took place on the outside of the building, just outside of their kitchen. Where the second fire happened, that has yet to be determined. Investigators are still working to get to the bottom of that. In the meantime, they are basically looking to try to support some of the workers that they have, so they have launched a GoFundMe page. The fire itself remains under investigation. Reporting live in Castle Rock, Shalima Maharaj, 9 News.
All right, Shalima, we really appreciate that update here this morning. And we are also covering more developing news. This story, a lawsuit against the city and county of Denver. People who were on board the Frontier flight that hit a person on the airport's runway last Friday night now say the incident could have been prevented. Our news partners in Austin, Texas report that DJC Law Firm is working closely with Ramos Law based here in Colorado. The attorneys claim that when the incident took place, it caused an engine fire and the plane filled up with smoke. One attorney says that the situation caused, quote, physical and psychological injuries.
I have 3 clients right now who were sitting in a row right next to the engine, and they actually saw portions of the individual's body go through the engine, which you can imagine must be a very traumatic experience. As soon as that occurred, of course, everybody on the aircraft, and my clients included, have told me they all thought that they were going to die.
12 people reported injuries on that flight on Friday night. The lawyers claim the entire incident was preventable. They blame, quote, multiple failures in the design, the maintenance, and the monitoring of the airport security fence. We did reach out to Ramos Law and the city of Denver for comment. So far, though, we haven't heard back. We have more local headlines to get to in just a moment, but first we're going to take a break for this live look outside. That's the camera set up on top of Coors Field, looking at downtown Denver on this Wednesday morning. I know the Rockies are coming back to town on Friday. Between now and then, it's possible we could hit a weather record. We're talking about temperatures close to 90 degrees today, Katie.
Oh, sweltering for this time of the year, Drew, and 60s out the door this morning. Quite comfortable, sunny. You want the sunglasses, sunscreen for today. Clouds will start to build in the late afternoon, and we have a few storm chances in spots across Colorado, and I'll show you that coming up. But the main weather headline, the temperatures. Yes, we could be hitting some records, and we are right now in the 60s out to the airport up through Fort Collins, Greeley, 40s and 50s in the mountains. We have seen winds shifting in from the south, very gusty this morning from Lyman, Akron, over 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts at last record. Now here across the Denver area, it's relatively calm currently, and we will be watching the clouds move in right around 3 p.m. But those highs, upper 80s to near 90 expected. 90 in Greeley. Downtown Denver out to the airport, mid to high 80s expected, and 70s, even low 80s in the high country. So 3 o'clock this afternoon, you can see out near Aspen, portions of the I-70 drive could see one of those brief light showers roll through. Less about the storm activity, but right around 6 o'clock when things get going for the Avs at Ball Arena, have that potential of gusty storm, and then risk of any severe weather thankfully remains low. A little more moisture in the mountains overnight, and then we'll clear out from west to east tomorrow. We'll talk more more about. Again, could see some records broken tomorrow with upper 80s. The summertime heat will be sticking with us, and we'll talk more about that in your extended forecast.
All right, Katie, we'll see you again here in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, Aurora police are searching for a 17-year-old driver after a chaotic scene near two schools that forced both schools into secure status. Now, no one at Cherokee Trail High or Fox Ridge Middle School was hurt yesterday, but again, this caused quite a bit of chaos during the middle of the school day. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause has more.
Today was a shock to all of us.
School's nearly out for the year.
Yes.
And Cherokee Trail High seniors Selena Gill and Acacia Wood expected an easy day.
And literally, I was not expecting this day to go like this. I came into the parking lot like, oh, this will take literally 30 minutes tops. And then all of a sudden, there's a guy that almost hits me and my friends. He was speeding through the CT parking lots. I was there at like 8:30 in the morning. And he's like just looping around, drifting on the corners, being very loud and honking.
Cherry Creek Schools says a 17-year-old Cherokee Trail student was driving erratically and hit multiple cars.
On the video, it was insane.
Two police officers formed kind of like a brigade trying to chop him into the lot, and instead he went up and over the grass. I watched the whole thing from Eastern Hills, so I was also able to see the car tire get slashed. And then the driver coming on to oncoming traffic on Arapahoe. I thought an accident was going to happen.
Aurora police were called out, and Cherokee Trail and Fox Ridge Middle were put on secured status. Meeting students and staff were all brought inside, and all exterior doors were closed and locked.
Student in the red shirt, come on! Come on!
Cherry Creek schools say the teen left and came back to the school multiple times in the morning before driving away, although APD says the student was only at the school once. But this all started the night before. APD says the boy's guardian reported him as a runaway and that he'd stolen her car. Police still haven't found him.
And hopefully he gets the mental health help that he needs, because this is just not a normal thing.
Selena and Acacia say they're grateful for how fast school security and police jumped in, preventing this scary situation from getting worse.
We're just grateful that no one got hurt.
Again, that was Rachel Krause reporting for us this morning. In other local news, a jury in Douglas County awarded one of the largest civil judgments in state history, $24 million, for a man who was targeted in a false criminal case by a Parker police detective. Robert Dial sued the former detective after he was arrested in 2022 on felony charges of tampering with evidence and accessory to murder. The charges were dismissed 5 months after the arrest, but his attorneys argued that the case led Dial to lose his job and ruined his reputation. The case was centered around Dial's son, who shot his roommates, killing a man and injuring a woman. His son called Dial and confessed to the shooting, and Dial said that he immediately told his son to provide medical assistance, to call 911, and to cooperate with authorities. He also hired an attorney for his son. The woman who was shot, though, told police that Dial told his son to hide the gun after the shooting. The gun was never hidden, but the detective on this case still accused Dial of being an accessory to murder. This week, the jury found the detective liable for false arrest and malicious prosecution.
You can't arrest and charge somebody because they say, I got my son an attorney, I'd like to have an attorney involved. That's a constitutional right. And it's not only a right, it's a good thing to do.
Dial's son eventually pleaded guilty to manslaughter. The detective retired in 2024, and the town of Parker says it's now considering whether or not to appeal. Colorado lawmakers busy today. They're wrapping things up at the state capitol, but there is still a few big ticket items that need to go through before the legislative session ends. One of those includes new safety requirements for rideshare companies, which failed last year after Uber threatened to leave the state. The bill would require companies like Uber and Lyft to run more frequent background checks on drivers and publicly report safety incidents. They're also considering a bill that would require firearm barrels to be sold or transferred in person through a federally licensed dealer. This proposal would also require buyers to be at least 18 years old and legally eligible to purchase a firearm, while dealers would have to keep sales records for up to 5 years. Also, in just a few hours, another bill is on the table. This bill would require social media companies to notify law enforcement when they restrict or suspend user accounts over threatening posts. But even if this bill passes, Governor Jared Polis is expected to veto it. The bill was introduced in response to last year's shooting at Evergreen High School. The Anti-Defamation League identified concerning posts months before that shooting happened, and they did report them to the FBI in New York. But the information arrived too late for authorities to intervene. So this bill would require social media platforms to comply with law enforcement search warrants within 24 hours and report to police whenever they take action against the user because of posts that involve specific imminent threats.
Is it constitutional even? And that is the question that the governor is posing, and I myself and my colleagues in the Senate are posing.
This is not government overextension because it's the social media platforms that are making decisions and identifying posts through their own process that have violated their own rules and policies.
Governor Polis says he's concerned that this bill will infringe on free speech, and his office expressed those very concerns to the bill's sponsors. But the way it was written up wasn't changed. So the governor says he will review the final version of this bill if it does in fact reach his desk.